hearing the truth, or they're too afraid of it, or they're too afraid of saying it.
What happened? What happened in the world? There's this guy, I don't know if you know Andrew Tate.
Yes.
Like the most popular guy on the internet. He was arrested in Romania.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said is, if you want to be controversial today, just tell the truth.
Oh,
when did things change?
You must have heard that from me.
He must have heard that from you.
When did things change? It's always been like that.
We've never been honest as a human society.
So when religion and science collided over the years, Galileo, any of the great scientific discoveries have collided with religion.
Yes.
The world is round. Heretic, you're crazy. Burn him at the stake.
Sure.
Or, there's gravity that keeps the planets in order. You're insane.
Lightning actually comes from particles in the skies.
Not the gods.
Yeah. Not from Thor.
Not from Thor or the gods.
Yeah.
And then you get into trouble. You get vilified. The Roman Empire lasted for 400 years. Okay, I'm going to get that stat wrong. It's got to be about 400
somewhere
years.
there.
And if you in year 200 had stood up and said the Roman Empire will collapse, all empires collapse, you would have been burned at the stake.
Yeah.
Because it would have been 60, 70 generations of people have the Roman Empire. It was going to be forever.
I once saw a quote that said, common sense is actually a curse. When you have common sense and logic, you suffer because everyone else doesn't have it. Is that how you feel like when you go on platforms and you chat to people and you share your heart, your truth, which is actually everyone's truth, but everyone's scared to speak? Do you feel like people are mad and you're the only sane person in the asylum?
So there's this beautiful expression. It said, for those who could not hear the music, thought those dancing were insane. You know that?
I've heard that line.
It's so beautiful because, you can imagine people dancing with no music. You think they've gone crazy.
Sure.
And that's how I feel, because let's take capitalism and communism.
Yeah.
Okay? Communism doesn't work. It doesn't work. There are examples in the world today of societies that have trying communism versus capitalism.
Yeah.
And the communist ones are failing. Every single one of them. Look at Cuba and Florida. South Korea, North Korea. East Germany, West Germany. And go on and on and on.
How do you feel when people quote China as a communist state?
China is a capitalist society with an authoritarian, almost fascist government. Okay? So they give you a bit of capitalism, trading, because you can't hold it back. It's a natural thing for humanity, capitalism. And yet they want to control certain elements of your life from the top. So is that communism? Not really. I don't think China is communist, But it's a society that cannot compete with America. America is going to win on all fronts. And the economy is booming, America. Have you looked? It's taken off like a rocket. Looked.
I saw Donald Trump is being arrested or something.
I don't care about Donald anymore.
I like Donald.
I liked what he said
about him another day.
I liked what he said originally, but I think he's lost the plot. He must move on.
Okay.
It's time to move on. But America is such a powerful country, militarily, economically, philosophically. And it's winning. It's dominating. I mean, I think young people, if they're going to move to some other country, should all go to America.
What's wrong with South African politics? I know you've spoken about it a lot of times, but just...
gosh.
I'll ask you today while you're wearing shorts. Maybe you have a different opinion.
The ANC has run out of steam, has passed its sell-by date. So they've been in power almost 30 years.
Yeah.
And they got things right in the beginning.
Did they?
Force for good. Yeah, did.
Did they?
They did. They got not everything.
Okay.
And Mbeki was not perfect. And I read an R.W. Johnson article this morning on let's not hark back too much to the Mbeki era. Yeah. And he was very good in what was good and what was bad. But the seeds of destruction were put in place there. Okay, and then Zuma just let everyone pour in and steal and break.
Sure.
And Ramaphosa has been the most pathetic president known to the history of the world. He is useless. So the ANC is finished. It's over. It's done its term. It's been in power too long. It's now run by the mafia for stealing and breaking, and it's a force for evil rather than a force for good.
Have you considered the ANC losing power and the backlash? Because I think that's one of the conversations we're not having. I mean, if it's true that it's a criminal organization, it's a mafia organization, do you think they would take a loss lying down, or they'd actually fight back and sabotage and destroy even worse than no?
So the ANC itself is not a force of evil or a criminal organization, but the current government of the ANC, the people in power in the ANC, are corrupt, criminals, owned by criminals, or just useless and stupid. I mean, there's not one. Enoch Gonagwana is the one guy I like because he's a friend of mine, but this thing he did on ESCOM was blatant bad. Patricia DeLille had periods of being good, but she's lost in space. Who else is? I mean, the rest of them are just dreadful. So, Omri Mahagole, who I admire immensely, as you know.
Yeah.
He and I disagree on everything, like you and I often have.
Yeah, we fight all the time.
But Omri is brave enough as an ANC veteran to say the ANC needs to go on the naughty step. The ANC needs to get some time out to revitalize because it's lost the way completely. So the ANC is out, gone, finished. Even if they team up with the EFF, a lot of people, good people who would have voted ANC will desert the ANC because the EFF, we know, are evil and racist.
The EFF must run the country. I want Julius to be president. Would you leave the country if Julius ran the country? He might be your favorite president. He might actually change and, be like the coolest guy ever.
Julius is an idiot. He just wants to go to disco parties in Ibiza. But you asked me a very interesting question. Would the ANC actually roll over and leave? Yes, they will. Because the majority of South Africans want change. And what we need is the majority of South Africans to register and vote for change.
Yeah.
The majority of South Africans have had enough. And it's not just load shedding.
Yeah.
We got 4 hours in a row, twice a day in the Cape. And the Cape's the best run, only well-run province in South Africa. And we have load shedding here. It's an embarrassment for a country like ours. We have no airline anymore. It's being sold for nothing. It's being handed as a gift.
51 rand.
A joke.
Yeah.
I'll pay 52. Transnet's a disaster. Do you know the Blue Train? Remember the Blue Train? One of the biggest brands in South Africa.
Yeah.
The Blue Train used to run a long train and a short train, 2 trains, back and forth Joburg, Cape Town. And it was a 26-hour journey. Okay? It didn't stop rolling. It stopped briefly in Kimberley. Go and visit the Great Hall. It was a tradition. Yeah. But it kept rolling. Okay? Yeah. Today, it takes double the length of time because of ESCOM blackouts, load shedding, because the equipment is falling apart. There's only one train left. They have to cannibalize the other train for parts. And all the employees want overtime. It's unaffordable. It'll never make money. Okay? So the ANC government has broken everything. Everything's broken. And it's just a disgrace. So I can't comprehend why anyone with half a brain can still be voting for the ANC. Why are they doing that?
Social grants.
Okay, but...
And it's social grants and lack of political literacy. So when the ANC comes to campaign next year, it's going to be Mama, Baba, the grant you get, the RDP you're in, the fact that your child eats porridge at school, that's us. Keep voting. And the voters like, okay.
I don't know if the voters are that stupid. I think... I think that even the people who are desperate and that grant keeps them alive know they're being bribed. And they are.
And they want something else.
What we need to tell them is that if we get a change in government that is pro-capitalist, pro-West, all the stuff, all the opposite of the actual...
Pro-West.
Pro-West.
Pro-West is anti-BRICS. I like BRICS.
Why?
We need a shift. I don't know.
Why do you like BRICS?
Oh, they like the underdog. And the West is like you guys. Like
the West are the smart guys who've got it right.
It's the Americans and the British.
Yeah. Those are the best societies in the world.
Okay.
If you look at the list of the countries people would most likely to be born into, they go like this. I won't get them in the right order.
Sure.
Denmark, Sweden, New Zealand, Norway, Switzerland, Holland, Australia. They're all countries of kind of 10, 15 million people max.
Yeah.
All Western, all Western,
Okay.
all democracies, all have one language,
Yeah.
homogenous culture, which is our problem in South Africa. We have too many.
I agree with you. Many people fight me for it, but I agree with you.
Yeah, and which gives us the answer for South Africa is not to have central control, but push things down to the smaller communities. Like, you ready for this? In Nhlala Luck's recent thing saying we need a Soweto to become our own community, to be independent, off the grid, manage ourselves, not impose on other communities, but have Soweto operate as an independent community and not rely on government, which is what Oranje does.
That is what Oranje does.
And I visited Oranje 3 weeks ago. Unbelievably impressive. I wouldn't want to live there. I mean, you have to speak Afrikaans, fair enough.
That's the one language and the one culture.
And you have to speak Afrikaans, you have to be a Christian.
Yes.
And I said, well, what happens if a lovely coloured family from the Cape that speaks Afrikaans and is very Christian applies to join? They said they would be very welcome. They may not want to live here, though, but they'd be very welcome, and we would encourage them to move. And they mean it. I mean, they've only got 3,000 people there because it's the middle of nowhere. But it's beautiful and well run, and they don't have outside labor. They clean their own toilets, make their own beds, and they and Nhlala are going to meet. Nhlala's going to go and visit her right now. Nhlanhla Lux.
That will be interesting.
So where South Africa should be heading is forget about idiots in government of any political form making decisions on your behalf and my behalf.
Yeah.
Let's us make our own decisions, or our communities make our own decisions. Let's go federal. Let's push decisions down to the smallest economic unit or community. Federalism.
That's what you want.
Baby. Yes.
Hectic. Yeah. And then in those communities, it becomes like Norway, Denmark, where we have one language, it's us, it's our. Isn't that now a form of apartheid?
No, because it's.
And what's the difference?
Apartheid was sanctioned at the top.
Okay.
Constitutionally.
Okay.
This is pushing decisions down to...
saying you want to be with your people.
Yeah, or just saying, let's pick an area. I mean, help me here. Ishawi.
Sure.
I've been to Ishawi in 50 years.
We can use a township.
Soweto.
We can use Soweto maybe.
So why shouldn't Soweto be its own self-governed, with its own security, its own police? They're responsible for buying electricity or generating electricity. They pay taxes to the Soweto Council.
Yeah.
Some taxes to the tiny government we have in Pretoria. Tiny. Smaller the better. Libertarian. That's where we're going.
Less government involvement.
Less government's my dream. How can 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 people sitting over there make the right decision for you and your family? It's not possible. You will always make the right decision for you and your family ahead of them. And as long as it doesn't impact on other people's lives, then why not?
You spoke at some point about the investability of this country. When April 2023, you're saying now, so you guys are dealing with 4 times 2, 8 hours a day. I'm in Joburg. Before I left to come to Cape Town, we had 10 hours, 4, 4, 2.
And you got potholes.
Crazy potholes.
I call them ANC potholes.
A lot of people I see the spray painting now.
Well, they are. ANC deliver you a pothole. That's all they can do.
From when you spoke about that to now in April 2023, do you think this country is investable? To a local and to a foreigner?
No. I think we've got to wait to see what's going to happen in 2024. If foreigners call me and say, should we invest? I go, no. No.
Jeez.
And the money's going to Australia, Canada, New Zealand. It's not coming here. And then more and more people are unemployed. There are less jobs. There's no way anyone in their right mind would invest in an ANC-run government.
Yeah.
No way.
We're at the investment conference now. Cyril was there. He loves them. They're his favorite things.
Yeah,
people don't understand the difference between pleasures and real investments and stuff that works. Some of us are not sure. When Cyril says we've gotten a pledge of 1.4 trillion, as an example, is that real money that's coming in? Is it, let's say you've got a company and you've budgeted 50 billion. It's like, well, I'll say we're pledging 50 billion, but I was going to spend that money anyways because I need to grow my business. And is it real money that comes in, or is it operational capex that was going to be spent anyways?
It's a nonsense number. Cyril announced we've got 3.6 million people on grants, like it was an honor.
I saw that. We're close to 30 million people on grants now.
30 million.
Yeah.
It's a disaster. He should be announcing there are no longer any people needing to get grants.
100%.
That's what he should be saying. But he's the most useless human being in this country by far. And a lot of people come close.
Why do you think Cyril has failed as a leader to gain people's confidence?
He has no spine.
He doesn't pick a side.
He can't make decisions. He's too scared and he's not in control. The mafia, who are stealing from Eskom, tell Bekitseli which cases to look at and which to not look at. Okay?
It's tragic.
And Cyril's the same. Why hasn't he fired Lindiwe Sizulu? That Tottenham Hotspur disaster alone should have fired her off the cabinet forever. She's still there.
I think she's left. I think she's still a member of parliament. But I stand to be corrected. I stand to be corrected. Sorry.
Too. But he's got the most useless people around him and he just adds new ministries. It's an employment agency. South African Airways was never an airline. It was an employment agency for the ANC.
Okay.
And all the state-owned enterprises were employment agencies for the ANC or a way to break and steal. That's all it was.
Procurement.
They don't know how to invest and build, and only business people do. So in our next cabinet, under our new government, I'm praying we'll have a number of business people in cabinet positions because they know how to invest, how to build, how to maintain. You know, the maintenance budgets for Eskom and everything were just stolen by tenderpreneurs.
Why is the business community, even after you call them to task, why is it still quiet?
Not entirely anymore. Neil Froneman's always spoken up. But now we've got Nila. Now we got Alan Pullinger.
Okay.
And Sim Shabalala speaking up.
Okay.
Good for him. So they are beginning to, but it's still not in the waves we like. You know, Adrian Gore wrote an article in that clown Adrian Basson's News 24 rubbish media empire. And the pathetic Adrian Basson then promoted as, it's hope for this country. Read that article by Adrian. Like a 5-year-old could have written it.
Jeez, that's not nice.
We are all looking for a greater country. We should all work together. And business must get involved. He didn't once say, we have crime out of control. We have unemployment out of control. And the ANC is responsible. Adrian Gore's too much of a coward to point out the ANC. And Adrian Basson of the pathetic News 24.
Jeez, you can't say that.
Puff pieces that article.
You can't say that.
I can say it. It's true. Ask anyone who reads that article what they thought of the article. And Adrian Basson is no editor. I mean, what a pathetic human.
Wow. I've got a controversial question for you.
Don't cut this from the speech.
I'm cutting it. We're definitely editing that out.
Do not, because I got to repeat it 20 times.
I've got a controversial question for you. You identify as an English South African?
I don't identify. I identify as a male, because there are only two genders. There are only two genders.
You're going to get cancelled.
Yeah, baby. No, I don't care about being cancelled. Pathetic woke. There are only two genders. I'm a male South African of 62 years old.
I'm asking this controversially because from a maintenance and a building the country perspective, do you think English South Africans, or do you think who would be better, English South Africans and white English South Africans and white Afrikaans South Africans? Considering controversial things that Vusi Tembo has said about the apartheid government got things done. If you look at some of the work of AfriForum, if you look at Orania as an example, those are all white Afrikaans people, Solidariteit.
The Afrikaners have done a way better job in terms of organizing their language and religious-based community through extraordinary organizations like Solidariteit and AfriForum.
Yeah.
Extraordinary. And AfriForum has now gone beyond just representing Afrikaners' interests to representing a lot of other people's interests. Minorities. They take up minority communities of all colors and defend them. I mean, what an organization, AfriForum. I take my hat off to them. So the Afrikaners have been, and when I was in Orania and they were talking so proudly about what they were doing, I said, I feel a little bit sad. I don't have that community, that family.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't, because, you know, I have Jewish blood, but I'm not Jewish. You know, the English South Africans who did dominate in this country for a period of time economically, but, you know, now, you know, everybody's in there. So I didn't really have a sort of family to fall back on in South Africa. And therefore, I just see myself as a South African.
Okay.
I really do. I mean, a lot of people say it, and they go, yeah, he would say that, wouldn't he, I don't see color.
Are you running next year as an independent?
No way. No
Why
way.
not?
Because
Rob Hersov for president.
No way. I'd last 2 days.
Why not? You're a businessman through and through?
My wife says it's because I've done so many naughty things in my life, and they'll all come out. Well, what if okay, so I did inhale, so what? Big deal. I've had sex with more than one
No,
girl,
stop it.
So what? No, politics is not my thing.
Okay.
I'm not good on, I'm too old, 62, and I think younger people should be in politics.
Okay.
I'm happy to help, but I don't think I'd be a good minister because I'm not good at sitting around a table for 3 hours with people talking
having
nonsense.
useless nonsense talks.
Yeah.
I understand.
I'm not that kind of guy, and they compromise, which they have to, and I really believe I know what I'm doing these days.
Mm.
And I have principles and standards, and I don't want to go and drop them.
You're a capturer.
Whatever that
is. An influencer from the back. What does that mean to you?
I tell the truth.
I know you hate that term, being captured. But what does it mean to you?
It's childish. It's stupid. I could say that the South African government is captured by the Russians, but they're not. They're just bribed by the Russians, and they take the money. I could say, I could say everyone's captured by everyone else, but it doesn't exist. Some people have overdue influence on others for various reasons.
Yes.
Others pay to get things done.
Yes.
But I don't get the capture thing.
Why
if I called you up, Pen, and said, we're buddies.
Yes.
Will you do me a favor, X, Y, Z? You'll think about it and say, okay, I'll do the favor if it doesn't drop my principles.
100%. But if it's within my values.
Right. If it isn't, you say, Rob, no, I can't because I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Bang. End of story. And if I said, I'll give you 100,000 Rand to do it, you'd say, no. This is my principles and my principles.
Sure.
So the capture thing is kind of childish. It's silly. I don't get it. And for me, I haven't captured any political parties. I can tell you that. It'd be too expensive. I wouldn't want to spend that money. And what do I get for it? Nothing. Paul Mashatile was raising money for the ANC for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So he owes lots of people favors.
Jeez.
And to Gayton McKenzie's credit, I said, when I first got to know about Patriotic Alliance, I said, I'll send you guys some money. And he said, I don't want your money. I said, oh, that's interesting. Why not? He said, because if I take money from anyone, I owe them a favor.
Yes.
He said, instead, why don't you fund the swimming pools in Beaufort West and the 100 toilets, conversion from bucket toilets to proper toilets. Do that. And I said, fine, I'll do that.
I don't know if I ever got a chance. I'm sure I have, but just to re-emphasize, thank you for the work you've done. Thank you for the investment you've done, for the networks you've opened, for some of the people in this country to effect public service, which sadly has budgets. And you don't know where those budgets go. It's not embarrassing. That's not the word. It's a human rights violation, and it's pathetic that in this country where we've got political leaders who live in mansions, who are very rich, there are people who they claim to lead that are defecating in buckets. In 2023, there are schools that have no bathrooms. It's
unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, it's actually unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. And here's what people don't understand about me. Okay? They always think there's a motive in what you do.
Sure.
Okay? And with a lot of people, there is a motive. But I've reached a point in my life where I don't need any more money. Okay? I'm really lucky.
Sure.
Don't need any more money. I'm really not interested in politics. I'm really not. I don't have a YouTube following. I'm not trying to build up viewers. Okay, I'm not on LinkedIn. I'm not. I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't want to be LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. I'm not on those.
Yeah.
Why am I doing it? Why am I doing it? Because people walk up to me on the street and say, oh, it's Mr. Rob. Can I give you a hug? Can I take a photograph? Can I shake your hand? Can I thank you?
Yeah.
To me, that is all I've ever wanted in my life, to feel proud about myself and to help other people. And it's not financial, and on politics, yes, I've been involved in trying to get people to move in a certain direction, writing articles, speaking on podcasts. Sure. My job is almost done. It's about 4 weeks away from being done, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you what I'm going to focus on.
Okay.
I've always believed that the DA at 22, 23, 24% should be incredibly proud to have almost a quarter of the voting population voting for them.
Yeah.
It's not just a white party. You can't get 22%.
Yeah, you wouldn't if it was just, even
No,
if all white people voted for the
tons of-
DA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'd still only be at 10%.
Sure.
So to be at 23%, the DA's got to be having a lot of Indian, blacks, colors, blah, 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 blah. Men, women, whatever. Poor, rich. Yeah?
Sure.
They should be very proud. So I'm saying to them, stop being unconfident. Be confident now. And invite Action SA, all the people that are pro-West, pro-democracy, pro-capitalism, the good guys, together into, I called it a rainbow coalition.
Yeah.
And then bang, John comes out with the Moonshot Pact. And I like the word pact. So it's coming together. They're working it out. Corné Mulder, Herman Mashaba, all these great people. They need to get Gate and McKenzie in. And once they've got Gate and McKenzie in the PA in, and Moosey, he hasn't quite said yes yet, we have the AAA team. And then my job is done, political, if I had a job. My efforts have reached a point. Now they've got to get on and make it a success.
Yes.
I can't do anything more. I can, they don't want my advice. And so the focusing on the voting population, there's a great option now. Vote for change. Vote for any of these good people. You can vote for Herman, the DA, Gayton, any of them, but vote. And my job now is going to shift to getting the non-voters to vote. And I'm not going to tell them who to vote for.
Sure.
I'm just going to say, guys, the current system's not working under the ANC, but vote for change. Pick someone and vote for them, someone else. But your vote matters. If 55% of people aren't voting, we've got a problem with democracy.
I spoke to Dr. Michael Louis, and he was mentioning that in the last elections, 16.6 million people voted, 19 million people didn't.
Right. So my job is to get 5 million people to register and vote. And 1 million of those live overseas.
Crazy.
And those 1 million overseas have got a lot of money. So I'm going to be focusing on 1 million people overseas who can still vote, who've got a lot of money to vote and to donate.
Yeah.
And 4 million people in South Africa who, for some reason, aren't voting, to actually consider voting.
Sure.
If I get 5 million people, we're done.
Why do you still invest in this country? Are you still mad?
I like it here.
Do you have some kind of belief? Or is it like, well, I'm stuck here, so may as well make the best of it?
So I actually love it here. I mean, we live in a bubble in the Cape, okay?
Yes.
So there are no potholes. Things are well run. The DA runs the thing very, very, very well. But it's still got issues. And I love this country, I like the sense of humor. I like the banter. I like the bunny chow. I like the, skop die blik. I mean, where else do you get all these mad things, eh? I mean, really, come on, guys.
Thank you.
I love it here. I don't want to leave. And my wife says, I am happy in South Africa. Let's stay. That's it. So investing, I've got money overseas, as you know, and I'm investing selectively in South Africa. So the airport with Nick Ferguson, paddle tennis, which is booming. I just lost some money on a deal. I got told yesterday it's not working out, so I won't say what that is because the guy hasn't told his team. So I'm winning and losing and enjoying it, but I'm not putting myself financially at risk. But I love it here. Love it, love it, love it. Going to see my parents next week in Joburg.
Joburg is the best city in the world, so we'll welcome you with open arms.
I love Joburg, and I wanted to live there.
Well, real stoics live in Joburg. The cowardly guys are kind of here in Cape Town running away from...
The hard asses live in Joburg.
Of course,
I agree.
like me and your dad, They're real soldiers.
I used to be a soldier. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Rob, thank you so much. I hope we'll get to sit and chat soon. And I always appreciate your generosity, your hospitality, your honesty. And I still don't think people understand. We have got people that have a little bit of money in this country who, as soon as they make a little bit of money, completely detach and get as far away from people as possible. You do not need to do this at all. One day I become successful in whatever way, whether it's financially, in terms of the work I do.
But you are.
To constantly want to go back and actually make a difference and plow back for future generations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Kevin Spacey, I think I might have mentioned this one time before, but said a beautiful thing. I knew him. He was a good guy. He got into trouble, but he's still a good guy. And Kevin Spacey said he always tries to send the elevator back down.
Yes.
He's got up to a success top floors, send it back down to help other people come
100%.
up. And you are a success, Pen. I don't like listening to Dudu Zanazuma speak on your show. No, I don't. I don't trust him. I don't like him. But I respect you for profiling him and let the audience make their own decision. So well done you, man.
Thank you. Thank you to you and to Duzan. You guys are my mates. Somewhere we'll find each other because the reality is, I think all of us want a South Africa that's winning. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. The South African economy, at least, forget politics and all those other things. The South African economy is meant to be competing with the rest of the world. And there's nothing stopping us from building a Springbok economy. We just need to get the best players in the 400 seats we call parliament. Yeah. And then put some of the right people in certain business industries. And then we'll see a proper shift in this country.
You said it all. Love it.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Thank you, Pen.
Cheers.